Nobody's in that car. What?
Objects aren't supposed to move on their own, yet sometimes they do. They shift, slide, or fall with no one around to explain it. Today, we'll look at some of the most mysterious videos of unexplainable events, where lifeless things were caught in motion.
But nobody's touching that. Nobody's in that car. What?
Among all other objects, it's always the dolls or Teddy that look far more spookier if they start to move mysteriously. At the time of dusk, a man who, after visiting the cemetery, noticed a Labubu doll that was moving back and forth all by itself inside a vehicle parked in the lot. An hour later, after it got dark, a very similar-looking doll was discovered next to a grave, with it moving, often looking in the direction of the recorder, which made it even more creepy. Moving doll. A gamer was busy conversing with his friends while holding onto a doll next to him. While he was distracted, the doll began to show activity, with a change in its facial expressions as it looked at the gamer. Before anyone else could notice, it returned to its original state. Now, this could be either a hidden feature that was pre-installed, or this doll may think like Chucky, although its intentions are unknown. Concerning mall activity. After several items and objects were found misplaced in a mall. For answers, the CCTV camera footage was reviewed. Initial thoughts were that a burglar may have broken into the mall in an attempt to make a heist, but the footage revealed something different. One of the objects randomly started moving before starting to go around in circles. According to the owner, the object was far too heavy to move around, which easily indicates that this actually could have been another case of paranormal activity. Tattooing interruption. While tattooing a client named April Nurse, a woman noticed her sanitary supply table begin to shift on its own. At first subtle, the movement grew more forceful, prompting her to alert April. Sensing something unnatural, she began calling on the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus, leave us the fuck alone.
Commanding any dark presence to leave. April, visibly shaken, joined in the prayer. Suddenly, a nearby chair was shoved across the floor by an unseen force. The room filled with an overwhelming sense of dread. Fearing for their safety, both women grabbed their belongings and fled the studio, deeply disturbed by what they believed was a clear, paranormal encounter. Random office disturbance. Late at night in Castlefield House, a Manchester office block, strange and unsettling events began to unfold. Chairs flew across empty rooms, computers flickered to life without warning, and doors rattled violently as if someone or something was trapped inside. Shadows moved across the walls, filing cabinet drawers slid open on their own, and papers scattered through the air. Home to several finance and PR firms, the building quickly gained notoriety after the eerie footage surfaced online in 2012, sparking years of speculation. While many are convinced the office is haunted by a poltergeist, a recent expert claim may finally reveal the truth. Paranormal shakedown. Two friends were enjoying a quiet evening together, but shortly after dinner, while doing the dishes, their night took a disturbing turn. At first, a chair was dragged away and dropped to the ground, which didn't seem to bother either of them. Then, a drying rack was dropped, which got their attention.
Maybe because we talk. Oh my God.
But until things started to escalate, the entire tray full of dishes that they had just washed was aggressively tossed onto the ground.
Okay, let's talk about
Haunted Park.
Wait, there's like no one, dude. Like,
There is.
While working a late-night shift, a courier was passing through a quiet playground on his way to the depot when something unusual caught his eye. The swings were swaying on their own, and for a brief moment, he saw a little girl sitting on one, only for her to vanish as he walked past. Curious and unsettled, he stopped to investigate and began recording. What he captured next was even stranger. A soccer ball started moving on its own, rolling uphill from the bottom of a steep slide. With no one else in sight, the courier was left convinced he had witnessed ghostly activity.
They're swinging. All right, I don't want to get out. Me either. Let's go somewhere.
Kitchen disturbance.
Okay, that's enough water, please.
A lone tenant shared what he described as a frequent problem that he had been facing in his studio apartment lately. He reported that an invisible or paranormal figure would keep frustrating him by messing around.
Excuse me. Are you back there again?
The source then shared a close-up view showing the reflection of this mysterious entity that appeared as it walked past his refrigerator.
Okay. Everyone can see you in their reflection, bud.
Moving stuffed toy. As much trust that you may have in a stuffed toy can easily turn into the worst of nightmares if you discover something like this. A storage unit keeper who installed a camera to keep an eye on his stash was horrified to discover one of his stuffed toy products that was moving on its own, as if it were a living being, if not haunted. It got up and looked towards the camera briefly before returning to its original state. The surprised owner decided to check it out in person and shared both the footage and aftermath pictures on Reddit, seeking answers. Opening curtains. A camera installed at the top of a staircase captured a series of unsettling events throughout the night. Each time a woman closed the curtains over the windows, they would mysteriously pull back on their own just seconds later. At first, it seemed like a draft or a simple malfunction, but as the night progressed, the activity became more deliberate. The curtains were drawn and pulled back repeatedly with no one nearby. The footage made it clear. Something unseen was interfering. Whatever it was, ghost or spirit, it seemed fixated on the curtains, as if caught in a strange loop of indecision or obsession. Invisible passenger. Either it's the equipment here that's faulty, or someone invisible was making their way through it. An employee at a train station was monitoring a tripod turnstile gate that started moving on its own. These gates are usually locked until a passenger ticket or staff card is scanned to unlock the gate. But in this instance, the gates kept on moving several times and on their own. Now this proves that it couldn't be a malfunction, leaving behind paranormal activity or someone invisible passing through as the only reasonable conclusion. Randomly paranormal activity.
Here are my hands. Did you see that? Did you f***ing see that?
A homeowner named Ivan, who, after noticing paranormal activity for days in his home, decided to share on social media. The clip starts with him sitting on his bed when a bottle of perfume on top of a cupboard suddenly drops towards the ground. In another instance, Ivan decided to keep his room lit, but that didn't stop paranormal activity. A handheld vacuum machine that was left on the carpet started to move and lifted inexplicably without him or anyone touching it. At this point, everyone who doubted Ivan started to believe him to be true.
Am I tripping? Do you see that? Okay.
Revealed mirror gateway. A paranormal investigator was exploring a haunted house, where, in the basement, he had an interesting encounter. As he was passing by, the mirror didn't just shatter, but a shadowy figure emerged from the inside, revealing that this wasn't just some mirror, but a spiritual gateway of some kind. toddler spirit. A man who, after returning to his apartment, started to notice and hear what seemed like a baby of some kind. The recorder added that he would keep on hearing someone sobbing. It was at this moment that the spirit of the toddler started appearing several times, just as in the video. Soon after, some of the battery-operated toys also started to turn on by themselves. Ransacking ghost. After finding their belongings scattered, broken apart, and no signs of forced entry several times, they decided to install security cameras throughout the house. What they captured was far from ordinary doors creaking open by themselves. Lights flickering without cause, and furniture shifting slightly as if moved by an unseen force. The footage revealed no intruders, only inexplicable movement. The family now believes they may not be alone in their own home. Unexpected interruption. A man was in the middle of a dumbbell workout when his front door slowly creaked open on its own. Thinking it was someone playing a prank, he stepped outside to check, only to find no one there. Moments later, he returned to find his decorations inexplicably falling one by one, as if disturbed by something unseen. With the atmosphere growing heavier and the disturbances escalating, he decided it was best to step out for a while and return later. Undo cut.
You can see me grabbing a lemon, right? I cut it in half.
A junior chef began noticing strange occurrences in the restaurant kitchen where she had just started working. Utensils would shift on their own. Containers subtly moved regardless of whether anyone was present nearby or not, and sometimes even fell to the ground without reason. At first, she brushed it off as a coincidence or her clumsiness, but the incidents became too frequent, too precise to ignore. The strangest moment came when she cut a lemon half into quarters, then stepped away briefly to grab a wrapper. When she returned, the lemon was completely untouched, uncut, just as it had been before, which left her stunned, so much so that she took some of these clips from the security camera and uploaded them online, seeking answers.
Recut the lemon because the lemon wasn't cut anymore. I'm freaking out.
Cupboard locked entity. A family that was away for the weekend when their motion sensor activated camera captured something alarming. Their cupboard door randomly started to open and shut several times, with a strange audible noise that would follow along with it. Now, although nothing could be seen visible, the camera lens did autofocus with a green indication, which indicates that the camera has successfully focused on the subject within that area. This further convinces that something around the lines of spirit or ghost lives within the cupboard. Self-moving bicycle. The fact that cycling focuses on balancing weight, this can't be ruled out as a coincidence. A cyclist who was woken up late at night noticed his bicycle moving around in circles all by itself. Despite the rural terrain, it was moving perfectly, almost as if some ghost was riding on it. After moving away and back to the source several times, it finally stopped after the bicycle ran into a garage door that blocked its way. With no paranormal activity that ever followed before or after, this is what left the source curious about the incident. Noodle cart troubles. Social media users were stunned by a viral video showing a chicken noodle cart moving on its own for 50 meters in a Madian city housing complex. The blue cart, captured on CCTV, rolled steadily along a flat surface near a parking area, despite no visible force. Owner Ut Pornomo, who wasn't working that day, was alerted by a neighbor and found the incident baffling. While some blamed the wind, Ut remained skeptical, noting strong gusts had never moved the cart before. Strangely, the day after the event, his sales skyrocketed. A paranormal expert later claimed the cart was pushed by a Pocong spirit. Harrowing clinic activity.
Meeting?
While working the night shift at a local clinic, a janitor captured chilling footage of what appeared to be intense paranormal activity. It began with the distant, haunting cries of a woman echoing through the empty halls. Moments later, heavy objects began to move on their chairs, sliding, doors creaking open, and medical carts shifting without explanation. The atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive, as if something unseen was watching. The clinic, it turns out, was built over the site of a long-abandoned asylum. Many now wonder if the terrifying events are echoes of its tragic past, residual energy refusing to rest. Toys going off. A mother recorded and shared this video on Instagram, showing that many of the toys of her young daughter kept buzzing by themselves. Just as her daughter, out of fear, fell asleep next to her, she started hearing the sounds of the toys in the other room. The young mother added that despite having taken all the batteries out of the toys, they still were getting turned on randomly and sometimes consistently. Could this have been somehow still influenced by the battery? Somehow, if not some paranormal activity?
So this is the same toy that used to go off in the past.
Abnormal shoplifting case.
Oh, watch. What is that? What is that? And it's just gone.
A garment shop security guard who, while on duty, was monitoring customers through the camera, noticed what could be a potential shoplifter. The man was wearing a hood to cover his face as he was going through a rack of clothes, presumably looking for his size. Now, just as the guard was waiting for him to shoplift, a strange dwarf-like being appeared near the man's leg, which vanished soon after. If you look closely at this being, you can be sure that it looks nothing like a human being, or even a dwarf. Could it be that this was the reason the man had just been up to this act? Or was it all just himself?
Look, watch. What is that? What is that?
Home wrecking in progress. An apartment resident who, after discovering objects being often placed out of line, installed this camera and filmed the unbelievable. The kitchen, where he placed a recording dash cam, started to fall apart all of a sudden, with glasses, cleaning materials, and kitchenware being tossed all around. Even the cupboard doors and the contents within them weren't spared. Now this was either a case of a series of coincidences or a paranormal entity responsible for it. Paranormal bluff.
Okay guys, so you get the idea. This is what it's been like all week.
An Englishman shared this on TikTok, showing that some ghosts or spirits keep on knocking on his door, but when he opens it, there is no one outside.
Hold up. Ready, watch. See? Nothing that way.
Only this time, things got even more creepy as the so-called spirit entered his house, starting a whole string of phantom sounds that left the man through a silly game of chase the noise. He would hear the sound of tap water or toilet flushing, but nothing as such would be visible.
Hold up a second. Now the toilet.
Something in curtain.
So for today's drink,
While filming a drink promo, a young woman was interrupted by an eerie movement behind the curtains. Unshaken, she checked, only to find nothing. Calmly, she shut and locked the window. This ghost picked the wrong person to scare. Paranormal hospital. It's not just the abandoned hospitals that turn haunted, but sometimes even the functional ones. A night shift nurse in Kulai, Malaysia, who after responding several times to the call button in a room with no one inside, decided to set up a camera. Not long after, just as the call button got pushed, the bed could be seen tilted upwards, and then the camera stopped filming. Within the same hospital, staff of the morgue department also reported strong paranormal activity. Camera footage showing a moving wheelchair, seating chairs being thrown around, among other things. Haunting intrusion. A Russian tourist rented an apartment in Germany for a short stay, but what was meant to be a peaceful visit quickly turned into a stressful experience. His belongings began mysteriously moving and were thrown around the apartment without explanation. It all started while he was asleep. He was jolted awake by the sound of objects falling, breaking, and being violently tossed. Strange occurrences seemed to follow him from room to room, even including the bathroom, where the shower suddenly turned on by itself. The tourist later shared footage of the events on social media, saying it felt as if his very presence in the apartment was unwelcome. Inconvenience store.
Vean, ahí ya empezaron a abrir también. Vean, observen.
A convenience store isn't as convenient if it's haunted. A customer at a grocery store in Cancun, Mexico, was shopping for snacks when the refrigerator doors started to open and shut randomly. It continued several times, which creeped them out, so they started filming while maintaining distance. At a point, it started to get escalated, where the lights started blinking on and off.
Paranormal.
After which a small dark silhouette of a child appeared passing by the pillar. Could it be that the spirit of this toddler is what haunts this convenience store? Awakened demon.
What the f***, baby? Oh shit! What the f*** is going on?
A woman, after noticing clues of a paranormal entity's presence, decided to get rid of it with an ancient practice, but it backfired. The woman in the presence of her husband started to sage the house, a practice of cleansing a space, typically a home, with smoke from burning sage, often white sage, to remove negative energy. Suddenly, an unplugged bulb got lit, while a large crucifix on the wall turned upside down, revealing its allegiance to the Antichrist.
We gotta do prayers or what we gotta do?
Rising crashed vehicle. Although no one knows how this vehicle ended up here and in this condition, what followed is far more concerning. This clip was recorded and shared by an unknown source, showing a crashed vehicle at the bottom of a bushy pit. With no visible cordage attached, it started moving upwards, where seconds later, a spooky figure with long fingers and nails broke apart the window, making its presence known. Driven away mystery. A Sri Lankan resident shared a clip where a pickup truck suddenly started moving on its own. The owner was sure that the road wasn't hilly at all, but flat, yet still the truck somehow drove away. The panic in the kitten that was sleeping underneath it confirms this wasn't something ordinary. Similarly, another incident was reported in that area of a parked motorcycle that turned half the way around before falling down on the ground. Almost as if someone wanted to take it away, but didn't have the hang of it. Moving drinks.
No. Not today, Satan.
A kid who was busy with his homework was left frightened when a can next to him suddenly started moving. He quickly got up and distanced himself from it while taking the cover of his dad. A simple question rose in his mind: if this could be paranormal or a prank pulled by his dad, who also seemed to be enjoying the moment. Thank you very much for watching the video. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.